Todd Chrisley single-handedly ruins his family's tailgate party. In a sneak peek for the upcoming episode of Chrisley Knows Best, he's found a funny way to do it. As fans know, the famous patriarch is always up to something. Todd is always getting into hijinks on the reality series. Read on to find out why. The Chrisleys are hosting their own tailgate for Race Car Day. In a sneak peek at the upcoming episode of Chrisley Knows Best, Todd isn't here to party. He ends up getting called out by his kids and Nanny Faye, all because of it. On Thursday, November 11, Online shared the clip for the next episode. Todd Chrisley tries to take a nap on NASCAR race day. Meanwhile, Chase Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and Nanny Faye have fun at the tailgate party. Savannah decides to play a game of cornhole. Todd Chrisley gets woken up by the chaos. He leaves his RV to ask Nanny Faye what the hell is going on. "Hell, we're having fun out there," Nanny Faye says. They're joined by a new group of tailgaters, which she calls her friends. Faye calls the area a fun little community. Todd looks around in disbelief. He tells him that he's trying to take a nap. "You understand I was trying to actually take a nap in there." Todd points over to the RV. "You woke me up with all this noise." It sounds like the father had the right idea. Instead of having some fun, he wanted to catch up on his Z's. Yet, his family didn't understand why he wants to sleep when they're having so much fun tailgating. Savannah Chrisley gives her father a confused look. "You don't come to race day for a nap," she says. Chase chimes in and says, "And you got your headphones." Todd Chrisley can no longer speak for himself. He just wants to take a nap. "I can't sleep in those," Todd Chrisley says, adding that because when I turn over, it smushes my face together. It turns out that he ruined the family tailgate. The three were having fun with their new friends. Todd didn't want to hear anymore. He wanted to go back to the RV and take a nap. What are your thoughts? Do you agree that Todd Chrisley has the better idea of taking a nap? Or would you enjoy the tailgate with the rest of the family members? Sound off below in the comments section. Check back with TV shows Ace for more Todd Chrisley news. Remember, the Chrisleys have moved. Chrisley Knows Best now airs on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. ET on USA Network. The sun hovered lazily over the sprawling parking lot, casting long, warm shadows that mingled with the occasional gust of early autumn breeze. The familiar hum of excited chatter, clinking coolers, and the sizzling symphony of grills punctuated the air, a perfect backdrop for a tailgate party. It was a day meant for laughter, camaraderie, and the kind of spirited fun that only a family gathering at a sports event could deliver. Amid the bustling crowd, the Chrisley clan had set up their territory with all the fanfare of a seasoned tailgate crew. Flags fluttered proudly from their canopy tent, emblazoned with team colors and logos that spoke to their allegiance. Folding chairs arranged in a semicircle created a cozy enclave where cousins, siblings, and extended family mingled freely, passing around plates heaped with grilled delicacies and homemade sides. Yet in the middle of this vibrant scene, Todd Chrisley sat somewhat apart. His posture suggested a deliberate withdrawal from the liveliness around him. Reclining in a plain chair that contrasted with the vibrant energy pulsating just a few feet away, he looked less like the life of the party and more like a man who had just arrived too early for a meeting. His eyes scanned the horizon, occasionally drifting toward the field where players warmed up. But his expression betrayed little enthusiasm. The festive sounds that enveloped the tailgate seemed to dissolve around him, leaving an unmistakable aura of quiet detachment. His family, ever the enthusiastic bunch, buzzed with excitement and conversation, their animated gestures and laughter painting a vivid picture of shared joy. Yet Todd's reserved demeanor made him seem like an observer rather than a participant. The easy back and forth of teasing and storytelling, the strategic debates over game predictions, even the raucous cheers when a new group of friends arrived. All of it felt like background noise to him. Nearby, children darted between tents and parked cars, their boundless energy a stark contrast to Todd's stillness. A niece carrying a football zigzagged through the crowd, nearly colliding with an aunt who was balancing plates of food. The scent of smoked meat, seasoned just right, mingled with the crisp air, promising a feast that most were eager to indulge in. Yet Todd's attention seemed fixed elsewhere, his fingers absently tapping on the armrest, as if counting the minutes rather than savoring the moment. As the afternoon wore on, the festivities only intensified. The clinking of beer bottles mingled with the upbeat playlist echoing, encouraging even the most reluctant dancers to move. Todd's family sang along to familiar fight songs, their voices rising in collective pride. But he remained detached, his silence growing more pronounced against the backdrop of noise. Even the arrival of the family's famed homemade chili failed to spark any visible enthusiasm. Plates passed around, everyone savoring the hearty flavors, while Todd nibbled at a salad, the healthy option tucked neatly on his plate. His appetite seemed subdued, and the lively exchanges about secret chili recipes went unnoticed by him. The family joked and nudged each other, recounting memories of past tailgates filled with comparable excitement. But Todd sat as if each story was happening in another room, another lifetime. Behind his quiet exterior, there was an unmistakable tension, a restlessness that neither the familiar faces nor the festive atmosphere could quell. His thoughts seemed to wander far beyond the parking lot, away from the familiar rituals of the family gatherings. It was as if his mind was trapped somewhere between nostalgia and obligation, unable to fully engage or retreat. On one side of the tent, cousins challenged each other to quick games of cornhole, their laughter and competitive shouts drawing a growing crowd of spectators. Nearby, a cluster of aunts and uncles reminisced about tailgates past, their voices a mixture of fondness and good-natured ribbing. Todd, however, remained seated, eyes occasionally flickering to his phone, but never fully committing to the digital world. It was a half-hearted attempt at distraction, a subtle signal that he was physically present but mentally distant. Despite his subdued presence, the family's warmth never faltered. They included him in plans to take group photos, gently encouraging him to join the circle. But Todd politely declined with a subtle shake of his head. The camera clicks captured smiling faces, sunlit hair, and gleeful expressions, a stark contrast to Todd's more neutral, almost contemplative stance in the background of the frame. The tailgate's energy seemed to ebb and flow with the shifting afternoon light. Children took turns tossing a frisbee while the adults debated the finer points of the upcoming game. The scent of freshly popped popcorn drifted past, tempting everyone with salty sweetness. Yet Todd's focus remained elusive, his presence like a quiet island in the midst of a lively sea. As the game time approached, the family gathered near the entrance to the stadium, anticipation buzzing like static electricity. Everyone seemed ready to channel their excitement into cheers and chants, rallying behind their team with unyielding loyalty. Todd, however, lingered at the edge, his posture still relaxed but shoulders carrying an unspoken weight. He watched the crowd with an inscrutable gaze, an outsider among his own. The communal spirit of the tailgate had a way of drawing people together, knitting threads of connection through shared rituals. Yet Todd's quietness carved a subtle fissure in that tapestry. His family's ebullient energy, their collective enthusiasm, only highlighted the contrast between their lively involvement and his restrained demeanor. It was a silent reminder that not every member of the family marched to the same beat, and sometimes, even in the midst of warmth and laughter, isolation could feel like a personal shadow. As the final moments of the tailgate dissolved into the buzz of moving toward the stadium gates, Todd rose with a deliberate slowness. His movements were unhurried, as if reluctant to leave the familiar cocoon of solitude he had wrapped himself in. The family waved him along, their smiles genuine but tinged with curiosity. The moment held a subtle poignancy, a snapshot of the complexity woven through family dynamics, where love and disconnect often coexist. Stepping away from the colorful chaos of the tailgate, Todd walked alone toward the stadium entrance, swallowed by the sea of fans surging forward with collective purpose. The noise and excitement closed in around him, but he remained a quiet island in a sea of fervor, a solitary figure who seemed to carry the weight of unspoken stories. The tailgate, with all its vibrant celebration and familial bonds, carried on without him fully. Todd Chrisley, for all the fame and personality often associated with his name, had become, in this moment, the real Snooze, not for lack of presence, but for the subtle, almost poetic distance that set him apart from the energetic pulse of his family's revelry.